Wait a second. This doesn't look like Space Engineers. Certainly doesn't look like science fiction either. Hey guys, Morphologist here, and in this very unusual video on my channel, we're looking not into the future, but into the past, at a game made by the same people who made Space Engineers. That's Keen Software House. The reason why I'm checking it out today is because a friend messaged me and told me that they modded something into the game that we've been asking for in Space Engineers for a very long time. And what is that? Well, we'll get to that in a second. But over this past weekend, I tried to make this video, but got absolutely carried away by how fun it was to build castles. I couldn't stop myself. And so I built like a keep and walls and well, that's because this. Guys, somebody modded water into the Space Engineers engine. Well, this is Medieval Engineers, but like I said, it's the same engine with some clear heavy modification, of course. But somebody actually went through the trouble of putting this into Medieval Engineers. And man, oh man, did they do a great job. That person's name, by the way, is Peaceman. And if right now you're scrambling to try to go find it in the workshop, don't worry, it's actually in the description of this video. You can just click on it straight away and it'll bring you to that page. I'll also provide a link for you guys to check out Medieval Engineers. I'm not being sponsored, by the way, in this video by any means by Keen Software House. It's just if you're interested now in this game and if you haven't heard of it. Personally though, like I've said before, it's not really the kind of game that I typically feature on my channel, and that's because it's not typically the kind of game that I play. But as you know, I am an architect, and as such, I like building things, and in this game, I can build castles. By the way, these planks don't seem to float. These are the ones that you put on buildings. The ones that do float, though, are the ones you use to build objects, and that's just fine, because the planks are pretty restrictive. But these things, well, the ship on the left kind of shows that you can build kind of whatever you want out of them. Within reason, of course. I mean, the ship's a little square, but you know, we'll have to give that to him because there aren't a lot of curvy blocks in the game currently. I'm sure somebody will mod that in now that this mod is a thing. I should expect to see a lot more ship mods. But I'm going to take this thing for a little bit of a spin and show you guys kind of how the thing works. Now, I should say that I'm by no means experienced at this. I'm still learning, and it is much more complicated than I thought it would be. But while you watch me fumble around on the ship, desperately trying to figure out how to actually make this thing go, let me tell you a little bit more about what this mod does, because it doesn't just add water. No, he actually did a lot more. So, as you know, the planets, or maybe you don't know, the planets in Space Engineers and also Medieval Engineers weren't really made for water. What existed before were just these things, these plots of land that looked like water, but were actually, I guess you could say, quote-unquote ice. They were solid, so they couldn't really be used as water. They weren't really useful as moats. You could just mine them or walk over them. That's not a whole lot of fun. So somebody was like, well, we need water in this game, and that's what we've been saying for a while, and so they modded it into the game. They were done waiting for the mods. No offense, Keen Software House, I love you, but man, could really have used water earlier than this. So what else did he add to the mod? He actually reworked the planets, as I was just alluding to, so that now there are beaches and deep seas. But he also added sails, as you can see, rudders, a tide system, ladder ropes so that you can climb up the side of the ship should you fall over, or climb up the mast of the center of the ship. Whales, I'm not sure why he added whales. Maybe you could whale them. That's kind of sad. I wouldn't want to do that. Anchors, of course you need those so you can stop the ship. And fishing, which is pretty cool. It's a new way to gather resources in the game that wasn't there before. I imagine that's going to make living in this game a lot more easy. Well, I wouldn't guess easier, but maybe a little bit more reliable to feed yourself in a survival mode. And I guess I haven't said this yet, but this game is a survival-based game just like Space Engineers. So you have to mine things and gather resources, chop down trees and what have you. You know, typical survival game stuff, except in this game, you can build everything to your heart's content. And man, oh man, if you look at the workshop, there is a ton of stuff. By the way, this ship was built by the very same friend who told me about this mod. Thank you very much, Joe the Anti-Pro. I will leave a link in the description of this video, and if I haven't said it already, I'll say it again. There will be a link in the description of this video to this mod and to Emmy. I was gonna say Emmy, but I mean to say Medieval Engineers, so you guys can check it out for yourself as well. Now, I know you guys have probably also noticed the castle and are thinking, man, I want to see that. Well, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I'm not sure. I hope you are. Well, I want to do a separate video about that, and in fact, I kind of want to get you guys involved. So if you like castle building, and if you've got the game, or if you're wanting to get into the game, and you want to get involved in my channel and have some of your stuff showcased, then you are going to be pleased to hear this. I need to fill out my city with housing and other stuff. So anything that you would find in a medieval village, I need built and made blueprints of so I can populate this village, and I am going to make then a video about it and show you guys in the next video. By the way, this drawbridge idea was, I thought, one of the coolest things. It allows ships to pass between the castle, but then also provides an excellent barrier for safety against the mainland. As you can see, this castle was built against mountains on a peninsula, and then across from that is the mainland where I would guess I'd be attacked. The gatehouses are fully fleshed out. There's actual occupiable rooms, a magistrate here, or I guess you could say the dockmaster's house, and an inner courtyard with a keep and everything. And then there's like this really cool village back here. But again, well, it looks like there's some sort of structural issue. By the way, there is structural integrity in this game, which is kind of cool. You can create trebuchets and what have you, and actually there's a mod for cannons, and blast away these walls and blast out the foundations, and they'll actually collapse. So there's actual physics to the game that you have to be aware of when you're building things. They can't be too tall or they'll fall over. You can't take a masonry wall and cantilever it too far or it'll collapse, and that's very realistic to what would have happened in real life. So again, guys, if you're interested and want to get into this, let me know down in the comment section below. I want to do another video on this. If you're adamantly opposed to this, like, no, I want you to do more space stuff, let me know as well. I'm interested to hear. But it's always fun to check out different games, especially games like this, which kind of need a lot more love than they're actually getting. You see, I think that Medieval Engineers could have been, or could still be, a great game if it just received a bit more attention, if people actually put more time into modding it and actually playing it, and maybe if content producers such as myself kind of highlighted the positives of it, because I think that there are a lot more positives now than there were, I think, perhaps in the past when the coding wasn't so great. I mean, back in the time where we were just struggling to have 3-man servers in Space Engineers and presumably also in Medieval Engineers, which is kind of like why I didn't want to check this game out, because I figured, well, if it's the same as Space Engineers with a ton of issues, why would I want to check out another game with the same code that still has a ton of issues? But thankfully, this no longer seems to be the case, as multiplayer servers full of people like 30 plus seem to be quite stable. One last thing before I end this video though, I want to let you guys know the rules of the submission. If you're interested in submitting a house, you need to do it like so. Go to my Discord channel down in the description below. Go down into my section, it's called Morph's Laboratory, and find the Morph's event chat and post your submission link in there only once, any more than once, and it will be disqualified. That's all, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see your submission and see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.